Welcome everyone to another day, another Atari. Actually, it's the same Atari, but this one is done. At least the console is. I finished that up just moments ago, and it's pretty neat. I actually made a whole video on it, so well, it's a part of a video you'll get to see. So I won't spend too much time on that here. But what I will spend time on is building the controller for this. Which, if you've never seen an Atari controller, I'll show you what it looks like. It's like a Think of the thumbstick on your PlayStation 5. Think of it like completely blown up. That's what it is. It's like a giant joystick with one button on the side. And I was really excited to build this because I want to see how it controls. Obviously, it's not going to control the console or play any games or anything like that. But I just want to see what the method is that they get this thing to work, and you can kind of see how it's going to work there. I cheated a little bit. I got some building done before we started, but that's okay. We only have a limited amount of time on our hands, so we're going to jump in and get building. I just want to say welcome everybody to the stream, and let's get into, I guess, for me, I don't know what day it is on this Atari. I've been working on it a little bit over the weekend. I didn't film any of that. I was just doing it on my own time. And then yesterday, I got into it pretty good. That's where I finished out the console. Actually, part of that was today. I don't know. We'll call it day 4. I think we'll just round up. Welcome to day 4 of the Atari build. I've been documenting my way through this, which I think is kind of fun. I think it's kind of a neat setup where, as I mentioned in my video, then you'll see, I talk about how you see a lot of reviews on YouTube of various sets and things like that, right? But you never really see somebody actively building a set and like sharing that experience. So that's what I'm doing here. So if you are on the fence about this set and maybe you're thinking about getting it, you can see me go through the entire process as I go. Or if you don't want this set or don't have the money to buy it, you can kind of live this vicariously through me, which is why I think haul videos are probably so popular on YouTube, because it's fun to be a part of other people's experiences. So right now we're working on the bottom of this. And this is like, we're working our way up on the controller. And right now I'm building the bottom outside edge of it. And I have to do, this is going to be kind of a repetitive part of this. I have to do this a couple times, which is fine. Because that's what happens when you build something with 4 sides. It all ultimately ends up being a copy of itself. Just like if you were to build a plane or a car, that's kind of the same way. All right, these have a thing at the bottom. I thought these were just 1x2s, but they are not. I have to take 4 of those, right? My goal is to not mess this up. I was like, I'm going to live stream this, and I looked ahead and I was like, oh no, I'm going to screw this thing up pretty bad. So wish me luck here. We'll do our best with this. I'll get you down a little bit so you can see what I'm actually working on. Okay, that's one part. I have to do that a whole part again. But by the time this stream's done, I'll be able to show you the controller. Joystick, I guess you call it a joystick. I'll be able to show you what it's like. And hopefully, I'm impressed with it. So I have been so far. My favorite part of this set, and I showed it in my video yesterday, it's this. If you didn't see my video, you can check this out here. Good luck. Thank you. You can see how that pops out. I just thought that was neat. Like, this, just a console, right? And then you're like, oh no, it's not. That comes out. And I imagine the games are going to actually stick in there too. The controller plugs into this. This is pretty neat. Kind of an expensive set. You could definitely get a real Atari, most likely. You could get a real Atari for less money than I spent on this. Which was like the one thing that was somewhat holding me back from buying it. I thought to myself, you know, I could just get an Atari, one that actually plays games and all this stuff. Or I could have this giant paperweight sitting on my shelf. And lo and behold, I chose the paperweight just because I wanted this experience in building it. And I wanted to see how they did it. That to me is like one of my favorite things about building Lego sets is you think about there being a person out in this world that was commissioned with building a Lego Atari. And they're like, go at it. And somehow they came up with this amazing thing. I just want to see how they did it. Because sometimes, like, if you're then trying to be creative on your own, sometimes seeing how other people do things like this, for example, it can make you a better builder. Just like if you were to watch somebody draw and get their techniques and things like that, it can help you. Here's what I'm doing right there with this. Wait, did I forget something already? Or is there supposed to be a gap there? I don't like that gap. Let's go back in time. I feel like, oh yeah, I was supposed to put a thing in below there. Okay. I didn't screw up on the stream yet. This was before the stream started. I didn't realize they were putting those on both sides because it said ×2, but then it's actually ×4. We definitely don't want that to not connect. So there we have the bottom of an Atari joystick. I guess we'll call it a joystick. So there's that. Have I ever thought about getting an emulator for Clark? We literally play classic games all the time. I have every Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and Sega Genesis game downloaded to a PlayStation 3, and I have pretty much every arcade game ever made downloaded legally to my At Games Legends Ultimate. So we play a lot of retro games. All of which I own, of course. I own everything legally. Nothing was ever downloaded without owning it. Just so we're all on the same page there. You know. But Atari is a console that I didn't own growing up. My first ever video game console was the Nintendo. So I missed this in its heyday. But I did end up playing the Atari Flashback much later when they came out. And Atari Flashback is essentially, it's like an emulation device, basically. But what it does is it puts all the games onto it, and it kind of replicates the style of this. It was smaller, of course, and it had controllers that were designed to replicate what the original Atari experience would have been. So while I didn't have an Atari, I still kind of got to see what it was like to play all the games and stuff. And I thought overall it was pretty fun. Okay, what am I doing here? Is this actually going to work? Or is this on the orange side? Oh, this is supposed to be on the orange side. There's one side of this that kind of is offset a little bit. And you have to make sure you're always working from that side, otherwise things are going to get all wacky. Janelle says, my brother still has his 1979 Atari 2600 and still plays it. That's impressive. You know, I have all of my consoles that I've ever owned, and they've all been great. In fact, my Nintendo still works, my Sega Genesis still works. Everything works, with the exception of one console that I've owned in my life, and that's the Xbox 360. That's the only one that I've ever owned that malfunctioned on me. And that was a notorious thing with the Xboxes. If you remember the Red Ring of Death, that was that. But it's kind of goes to show you just how crazy it is that you can literally have a console that you got on Christmas morning in 1990, and that has outlived an Xbox 360 and still continues to. Kind of remarkable. But it just goes to show you, like, you know, there's sometimes mistakes that are made in manufacturing. And luckily for Microsoft, they kind of survived it. And I would say today, I don't know who has the lead in the console wars these days, but the thing that really draws me into Microsoft or Xbox is Game Pass. It's like the Netflix of video games, and you can play these things anytime you want. And if you want to try a game out, you can do that. If you don't like it, you just delete it. That is pretty much the only reason that I have an Xbox. I feel like the caliber of games is better than what PlayStation has on their service. But if you just had a PlayStation, I think I would probably be happy with that. If I were to, I've never actually even, I don't own any physical games on my Xbox that I have. I have never bought a physical game for it. Or I haven't spent any money on games, actually. I bought an Xbox Series X, and I've never bought a game. Which is just crazy to think that, like, from my childhood in video games, there would be a time where you could eventually buy a console. Well, first of all, the idea of it not coming with the game is kind of wacky. That's a thing. And then the fact that you could never buy a game for it and be perfectly fine is even crazier. Here's my joystick coming up, by the way. It's coming together. Zero stopped by to give a thumbs up. Well, how about that? Thanks for doing that. The classic Ring of Death, it wasn't very classic in the time. that happened. I ended up selling it for like parts. I tried fixing it. I couldn't do it. So maybe some other genius out there was able to do it. I sold it locally, so somebody bought it from me. Mark says, remember, I always wanted the Sega Mega Drive. Too bad my parents were against video games. Come on, parents. That was an amazing console. It was the Genesis for us over here. Sonic 2 is life. I loved it. Hey, Ray, welcome, man. I spent at least $100 on Street Fighter. Well, hey, if you want to spend $300 on Street Fighter and be able to play it for all eternity, Arcade 1-Up right now, the Street Fighter 2 Collector's Edition is, I think, $300 on Amazon. So if you want to go back to the old days when you spent tons of money in the arcade and replicate that experience in your own home, it's, again, going to cost you $300. It's on sale from $500. You'd have a classic arcade, like stand-up arcade cabinet in your house, and you never have to put a quarter in it again. You can play it endlessly. Will it have as much fun? Does nostalgia run deep? I think the answer to both those things are, one is probably maybe yes and definitely yes. And sometimes memories are best left in the past, but you can have that as an adult today. LK Brick says, saving up for 2K Drive. Do you have a PlayStation? If you do, just get PlayStation Plus for a month or whatever. Get a trial period and you can play it for free. It's a fun game. In fact, I'd like to stream some of that if you guys would like to watch. It'd be on my gaming channel. Play a little bit of 2K Drive. We just beat. We're doing pretty good. We're in Big Butte, which is like Big Butt County or whatever it is. And I just did like this mission where there's all these skeletons that are attacking these people that are in the town, and you have to drive and pick the people up and then drive them to another point and then drop them off for safety. It's almost like playing Crazy Taxi, speaking of Sega. And it was really fun. It took me a couple times to do it. Clark and I were having a blast with it. And I feel like I'm on the cusp of like going to like the next level in the game. So I thought it might be a good time to pick up the live stream aspect of it and see what that's like. Speaking of seeing what things like, here's this. It's free on PlayStation this month. So if you want to play 2K Drive without spending any money at all, I made a whole video on it, you can go do that, and it doesn't cost you anything. Which, you know, you got nothing to lose at that point. But if you don't have a PlayStation, then I guess you're stuck paying for it. I did see it was on sale somewhere for like, it was on sale for like $17. The game's dropping like a rock in price, so be careful buying it, because I almost bought it for $30, and then I was like, oh, it's free next month. Great. I'm glad I didn't buy it. Andy says, came in, first thing I heard was Crazy Taxi. That's my childhood. Did you know that Sega right now is on the cusp of coming out with a whole new wave of all these old games? I think they're going to do Altered Beast, I think is going to be one of them. Or no, they're doing Golden Axe. They're doing Crazy Taxi. They're doing Jet Set / Jet Grind Radio. But Crazy Taxi is so good. I had it for the Dreamcast. In fact, I'm actually watching this guy right now that is refurbishing a Crazy Taxi like sit-down arcade cabinet that he got from like this bar. Like the place was like, they just had it in storage and it was all run down, but he's fixing it up, and it's kind of cool to watch the journey of this thing. One thing I don't like though is he's not keeping it like completely authentic. Like he's changing some colors of things and doing stuff to it. I was hoping that he'd do like a classic like refurbishment on it to make it exactly like it was. But I say, do what makes you happy. And if you want to make, you know, something that was yellow black, if you want to put padding on the plastic seat, if you want to put a upgraded subwoofer under the seat, which it had one, that's pretty cool. You also put like some stuff on the gas and brake pedal to keep your foot from slipping off. So I'm watching that series and having fun with it. Played the Simpsons version of Crazy Taxi on PS2. Yeah, what was that called? Hit and Run? Is that what that game was? I know there was a Simpsons game, and then there was a Grand Theft Auto style Simpsons game too. I can't remember, but I didn't own it, I don't think, but I remember it being like a pretty awesome game. I think there was two of them. There was Hit and Run and then something else too. I don't know. I would say of all consoles, if we're going to keep this related to video game talk, I'm going to say PlayStation 2 might be the greatest console of all time. Mathematically, I think the Nintendo Wii stomped it. I'm pretty sure the Switch is going to stomp both of those. But when it came out, it was incredible because It played PlayStation 1 games, backwards compatible. It played DVDs, which was this up-and-coming thing where you could watch movies on a disc. Imagine being able to watch movies on a disc, never having to rewind. It was an incredible thing. It also played PlayStation 2 games, of which there were an incredible number of them and many, many good ones. So in my book, maybe it was just the time that I was growing up. I was a teenager at the time when it came out, but the PlayStation 2 was incredible for all of those reasons. And it's just so funny to me that Sony almost never happened in terms of video games. They were supposed to work with Nintendo on a disc-based system that was going to, I guess, be the follow-up to the Super Nintendo. And then Nintendo backed out. And Sony's like, well, I guess we'll make a console. That Nintendo's probably regretting every moment of that at this point. Imagine being Nintendo and not having to compete with Sony. What that would be like. Imagine Sega still being around. I want to say like Microsoft is what Sega would have been had they continued. It just feels like the Xbox was the next iteration. But I had the Dreamcast too. I should get the Dreamcast out. I got another one. I have 2 Dreamcasts at this time. And I think the one that I got might actually be in nicer condition than the one I have. Mine kind of got yellowed for whatever reason, the plastic on it. So the one I got is pretty nice. I want to play some NFL Blitz. I love that game. But Crazy Taxi, all the like arcade style games. Daytona USA, I love. Anytime I go to an arcade where they have Daytona USA, I'm in, baby. Here's my joystick. We're working our way through an Atari. I called it an Atari controller. It's kind of I guess it's just a joystick. The controller is just a giant joystick with a button. That's how simple things used to be. Now you have to have 6 hands to play games. I remember playing Madden quite heavily and thinking about how complicated the control scheme was for that. And I was like, how could anybody ever learn how to play this game? Remember back when there was just 2 buttons? You picked run or pass. And you did that. And you hoped the person you were playing against picked the other thing. Now it's like you're calling audibles, you're moving people. There's 65 things that you're doing at once. Time Crisis. Hey, Andy, if you want to play Time Crisis and you have an incredible amount of space in your house, this stream's going to be brought to you by Arcade 1-Up. They made a Time Crisis arcade cabinet if you want to replay that. Or you could get it on PlayStation 1. PlayStation 1 has a Time Crisis, which if you don't know what Time Crisis is, it's like, remember Duck Hunt, or if you know what Duck Hunt is, you have a gun zapper controller, and you're shooting the bad guys on the screen, which is really cool. Other popular Sega game that's like that is called House of the Dead, I think. And yeah, you can go wild. I was actually thinking about doing a series in 2024 where I go through and I play, I would say beat, but I at least want to play all of my old video games that I have. I have tons of games, including games that are in my backlog that I've never played for PlayStation 3, 4, 5. I got really heavy into video games on PlayStation 3. It was just like a time in my life where I was just going nuts on them. And I have things going from, I have Nintendo, I have a Super Nintendo, which I missed that on my childhood, but I got it at a yard sale. I've got Sega Genesis, I've got Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS, 3DS. I've got Sega Genesis, of course, Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1 I don't have because I traded it in, which I regret. I've got a couple PlayStation 2s. I've got multiple Xbox 360s. I've got the Xbox. I've got, I don't have an Xbox One. I gave it away to my buddy Martin. I have the Xbox Series X, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5. I've got everything, and I've got tons of games, and I thought, how cool would it be to do like this little series where I just jump in and I'm like, pick a game that we're going to play today. And you pick a game, and we try it out, and we see what it's like, and we just keep doing that. I think it could be kind of fun. This idea came to me. I was like, dude, that'd be kind of fun for my gaming channel, where it's not like, I'm not beating every game, because that'd take an incredible amount of time, but just like, hey, let's try this out, and see what it's like. Is this worth playing? It could be like, is this worth playing? Check that out, though. Try playing on this. Mark says you like the adventure games, like Full Throttle, Sam & Max Hit the Road, Gabriel's Night, all on PC, must say. I was never a PC gamer. I remember playing some games on PC. I think one of my first PC games that me and my buddies really liked playing was Diablo 2. I have Diablo 3 in the backlog. Never played it once. Diablo is like a hack and slash, like looter type thing. So I've got that. And it's all in the storage room of Doom. Like, you think it's just Lego in there? Oh no. There's more than that. There's more than meets the eye. We're building the actual joystick now, boys. We're getting into it. Do I have the Sega Master System? No, I don't have that. I didn't have the 8-bit Sega. Which I think I have played games on it, though. Is Alex Kidd one of the games from that? I have Alex Kidd in Something World. A really wild game where he goes through, and at one point in the game you play like Rochambeau against an enemy or something. I remember that part of it, but the game was tough as nails. Brutal. Like a lot of those older games were. Clark and I were playing this morning. We were playing Marvel vs. Capcom. And we also like playing X-Men vs. Street Fighter, which are 2D fighting games. And we play against each other and just have a wild time. Although today he got really upset because he was just wiping the floor with me. And I figured out what he was doing. And I was like, not anymore, my friend. And I ended up... I picked these two characters that I know would be like a perfect defense against the ones that he had. And I kept switching every time he would switch to counter him. And he got so mad. Like, he's like, why are you switching? I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to offset what you're doing. But it was a lesson learned, and it's that you can't always win all the time, right? Like, sometimes you're going to lose. And you have to be a good sport. Because no one's going to want to play with you. This is Brickitect's life advice. No one's going to want to play with you if when you're done playing, if you lose, you get all beside yourself and get upset. So he got upset for a little bit, and then he was over it just about as fast as it came on. And we went right back to playing, and it was just fine. But it was like, I think it was a good moment to learn things. You got to have those. And the only thing you can hope for, I guess, as a parent, is that you handle those moments properly. Here's the joystick. Going in, boys! All right. They did well. Here's the inside of this if you want to see what it's like. I'll be making a video about this too, by the way. And then you just put that in there like that. Like that. And then you would hold this like this. It doesn't... it's not as sturdy or, I think, durable as what an actual 2600 controller would be. But they did a nice job with that. You can hear the motion in it. It moves about what it should, and then that'd be really cool if that button went up and down. That would be next level, but I can understand why they couldn't do that. We do have a controller to go with this, though. The controller must go in! GoldenEye, oh my gosh. If you knew how much time I spent playing GoldenEye. You play in like 4 players, play on like this freaking 27-inch TV where you get this square that's like that big that you're playing in. Kids these days... they don't know the struggle. We're sitting over here playing Fortnite like 1 inch away from the TV on a 42-inch TV or something, 43-inch TV. It's like, dude, there was 4 of us playing on like a 20-some-inch TV, dude. Did I get the Daily Bugle set? You got to go back and watch my videos. You'll find out. The answer is found within. I have it, but I haven't built it, though. Yeah, the struggle was real back then. I played Oregon Trail back in the day. I used to do the trade exploits. I would be like, hey, will you trade this guitar for, all your food? Alex Kidd on Genesis. Can never figure out how to play it, along with some other Genesis games. I haven't tried it in years. It's time to come back, baby. Let's do some retro gaming here. We might have the audience. I think most of my audience is younger kids, but I think I've alienated most of them successfully. So I might be able to capture the adult audience that are the age that I am with the nostalgia that I have. And that would be fantastic. We just got to scare off all the kids or wait until their bedtime. One of the two things. But if they want to watch, if they want to tune in, they can as well. We're not going to discriminate. That's interesting. It's almost like I was building a little fish or something. I need a controller cable. That's in here. In the middle. What is the age of everybody here? Say it whether you're young or old. Tell me how old you are. Most of the kids are still in school right now, so that's where they're at. But we have some peeps here that have gone on the video game journey that I've gone on. Oh, I don't like this very much. The way that this is going to go in here is not going to be good, because you almost have to stretch this, and I don't like that. But we'll make it work. Yeah, I guess that's fine. That's fine. All right, here's the range. 30, 49, 51, 45. I underestimated you guys. 12, 40, 28, 42. I'm a young 51. 35, 17, 24. All right, so that's pretty cool. We got a nice variety. So when I tell you guys about playing GoldenEye on a tiny TV in 4-player mode, some of you were right there with me. Some of you were a little bit older than me. That's pretty cool. I'm 30. Am I 39? No, I'll be 39 this year. I don't want to round up too much. It's my last good year before I hit 40. I just do the math because Clarkman was born days after I turned 30. So whatever year he turns his new age is the year that I turn that age as well, only I'm adding 30 to that. So when Clark turns 10, I'll be 40. We did the math. We did the math. Okay, let's plug our controller in. So we'll plug this in here. This actually looks legit. Like, if you didn't look very closely at this, I'll hold it all the way over here. What do you think? Does that look like a real controller or what? I think they did a nice job. Can we plug it into the console? They don't want us plugging it in just yet, apparently. Whoa, 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 whoa. I wish I might have to build another controller for this. It's going to plug into the back like that. And, yeah. What do you guys think? Kind of coolish. Now, Clark's almost 9. Clark is almost 9. Yeah, it does look real. I'll get you a better shot here so you can saunt it a little bit better. Take a gander, my friends. We have a joystick functioning. Button not functioning. Atari 2600. What do you define as functioning? I think the coolest thing with this is if we actually bought an Atari 2600, we rip the internals out of it, and then we put it inside this to make it work. You guys didn't see this part. Can I do this one-handed? Yeah. This is what I built yesterday. If you're following along with the live streams, I'm contemplating, and this could be a bit of a challenge. I thought about doing like a little 30-minute live stream every day. Just working on something, making progress on something. Talking smack about video games and figuring out how old you guys are. That's kind of what I like to do, I guess. But we'll turn this off. Don't want to waste electricity. And we'll reset the game. Oh, dude. What if I hit that? And it, like, brought that in. That would be a cool, like, motor function, too, wouldn't it? Yeah, this is neat. Man, it's expensive. How much was this? I think I got this for, like, $190. There's still more to this. There's games I need to build. That's pretty much all that's left. I've got, I think, 4 bags. There's also this, like, little stand that goes along with it as well. But it'd be fun to kind of jump on each day. Hang out for a bit. Maybe somebody has like a lunch break or whatever that you just want to chat with me while I work on something crazy like this. I think it's a fun time. And I hope you had fun hanging out with me today. We're right at our limit. We actually have about 1 minute left. Favorite game? What is my favorite game? I would say historically, I want to say the game that I really loved on PlayStation 2 was, I love the Grand Theft Auto games because they feel so big and immersive. So I really loved GTA San Andreas. I know that's the unpopular opinion amongst Grand Theft Auto people. I think Vice City is the one that people like the most. But then I really loved Grand Theft Auto 4 in New York City. It just felt amazing being there. So I'm going to stick with Grand Theft Auto 4, but Grand Theft Auto 5 was really cool too. I'm at the point now where I don't see myself going back to play those games necessarily. I experienced it, and it doesn't have the draw that it had at the time. Like, it was incredible being in this space where you can just go wherever you want, do whatever you want. It was really cool. But the game that I most want to go back and play, it's one that I never beat, but I got started with it and it just kind of tickles my brain. I want to go play Skyrim again. I want to do a whole playthrough on Skyrim, and I want to live stream the whole thing. It's going to be miserable to watch, though, because I'm what you call a digital hoarder in the game, and I can't help myself but to look everywhere for everything because I'm like collecting things. So anything of value, I'm like, ooh, should I pick that up? It weighs 1, but its value is 2. I'll grab that. And then my character is like overburdened. But Skyrim is the game that I really want to go back and like experience again and see how it is, because it's been out for like 12 years now. It's been released like 65 different times on 812 different consoles. It's all happened. But I'd like to go back and play that. I still haven't beat Red Dead Redemption. That feels like it should be right up my alley as well. It just seems like once Clarkman came along, and then particularly once I started doing YouTube more, the video games kind of went by the wayside a little bit, which is kind of weird. Like, back before Clark was born, during the PlayStation 3 era, I was doing nothing but playing video games. I wasn't really doing the YouTube thing, so like the editing wasn't taking my time. All this stuff wasn't taking time. I was just playing games constantly. Cody was finishing college, I think. We just had a lot of time on our hands. And then as you become an adult, as many of you have learned or will learn, it starts eating into your time a little bit. And you start prioritizing. And I start looking at games like, oh, should I spend my time doing that? I could be doing like something more productive. But then I learned that joy is something that can be produced. And being joyful and enjoying yourself is being productive. But I also found another life hack, which is to live stream myself playing video games, because then I can say that I'm creating content. But even that, like, I really haven't done much with my gaming channel this year. It's been so busy. Even this channel has kind of fallen off just because there was a month where I didn't even like make a video basically on this channel. But now like winter's around, my foot's broken. I got time. We can do all these things. And I just thought, for now, at this chapter that I'm in, this season of life, if you will, we can have a good time and enjoy it together. And I hope that's what we can continue to do. So I hope you enjoyed today's little dive into Lego Atari. I'm going to build the rest of the setup here, I think. I'm feeling frisky. So I'm going to work on the games and then like have this thing done, and I'll make a little video showing it throughout the process. And you got to see the in-betweens, I guess. So I hope you guys have a glorious rest of your day, and we'll see you in the next stream.